We'll call the November Park Board meeting to order at 6:10 p.m. Start the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Hope, can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Markwart?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Ms. Miller? Present. Mr. Holstein?
Present.
Ms. Sheehan? Here. Ms. Tauber here. Ms. Sandberg? Here. Mr. Salatas?
Present. Okay, we have a quorum. Item number one on the consent agenda is the approval of the October 27th, 2022 meeting minutes. Board's pleasure.
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion from Paul.
And I'll second that motion.
I have a second from Greg. Hope?
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Holstein?
Yes. Okay, 4-0. Old business, item number one is the capital improvement project, pickleball court. At this point, there's really no movement, other than a discussion with the, company I had referenced in the previous meeting. And that's really where it lies. There's really been just kind of loose discussion trying to figure out what needs to be in order to start the process. And that's really all there is to that. So we can, if I can solicit a motion to defer this to, honestly, probably, January or February. I don't know that there's gonna be a earth-shattering, other than maybe a meeting with the town manager and a board member or two. I don't know that there's anything we need to do, so if I can get a motion to defer this, we'll say to January, just in case something happens, and that'd be great.
I'll give a motion to defer the pickleball courts to January.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Hope?
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Holstein?
Yes, 4-0. Item number two, soccer goals, nets, quotes, etc. So, in the previous meeting, we had approved up to $8,000. That was item number 5 on the previous agenda. Unfortunately, the company had a price shift and it put it over budget a significant amount. I think it was over $500 more, maybe even $700.
It was, a little more than $500 more.
Okay, so more than we approved. Fun fact, we have Hope hooked up with the Indiana Parks and Recreation Association now. And right out the gate, they came through with a quote out of a company from Noblesville, Indiana that I have before you. Hope, we've verified that this is identical to what we submitted to the other company, right?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I wanted to bring up is this is it says 2 pair. I'm catching this again now. Of the 7x21s, but what about the youths, the little ones?
We didn't get, the 7x21 is for, it's not the big one. The big one is the 8x24.
Right.
So the 7x21 was the one that we were looking for. We didn't get any prices for the little ones, like the 4 and 5-year-olds. We didn't get any prices for those.
Okay, so that's, and that's obviously something we still need to do.
Oh, okay.
Because those littles aren't in the best of shape either, but.
Yeah, they're not great, but.
But that way, and I don't know that those come in as, we can evaluate that, but.
Okay.
I would like to see that, just so we know.
How much? Okay.
How much those are. That, I had that in my head, I meant to catch up with you on that. But nevertheless, Indiana Parks and Recreation came in strong with a lead on a company. So before you members, I have a quote for $5,675. That includes shipping. So we're significantly under the previous. Do we have to retract the previous motion, or do we just, it was over what we allowed and we're moving on?
Since it expanded, I would just now vote in favor of this current one.
Yeah, because they're under their 8,000 that they approved, so.
Yeah.
So we can just make the motion to...
I would make note of it in the records, that way it's in the minutes, that we did not follow through with the original request or the original motion to purchase due to the fact that the price came in higher than was authorized by the board, and now with like quotes, that we will now authorize this one.
Okay, so ultimately, board, I'm looking to solicit a motion to move forward with Commercial Recreation Group LLC out of Noblesville, Indiana, for the amount of $5,675 due to the fact that the previous company came in over what we had originally agreed to purchase up to.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay, I have a motion from Paul.
I'll second that.
I have a second from Greg. Any discussion?
My only question is, do we want 2 sets of pairs for the one size? Or do we just want one set?
This is for 2 sets of pairs, 2 pairs.
So
Four goals altogether.
So we could potentially run 4, we could potentially run 2 games if we had to, 2 practices if we have to. I think that would be okay.
Okay.
Because as we discussed in previous meeting, if soccer goes off the chains, I'd rather be,
Yeah, I think we discussed that 2 games at once is probably where we want to be.
And again, that gives the ability to have 2 practices at a time and so on and so forth. I think that would be still a good move.
Okay, and so we can discuss the smaller set at the next meeting?
Yeah, we can discuss that in January
Okay.
or February. We'll have time. But just because they came in so low, hope if you could see what they have to offer.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that was a great find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were seeing in the revisions anywhere from 12,000 and...
She did a good job. Hope, we appreciate that.
Thank you, yeah.
Your hard work on that.
Yeah.
That was great.
Indiana Parks and Rec has already paid for itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just save us a couple $1,000 for whatever the cost is for the membership. I mean, so that's fantastic.
Nice.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second discussion. Go ahead, Hope, roll call.
Okay, Mr. Markwart,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Holstein.
Yes. Okay, item number 1 of new business is soccer league fees, waivers, policies, rules, etc. Hope, is this you?
Yes. There's not a PDF for this, it's just, the main thing was I wanted to get approval for us to set the date for registration for February 17th and 18th. And that would allow, the shirts to be ordered and, coaches lined up, the coaches meeting, I'd like to have that in March, hopefully March 17th. And then we can get, everything organized better before practices start on April 10th, and so that's what that was.
And you're comfortable with that timeline?
I am, I was hoping that everybody else would approve that, and
Will that give us enough time for advertisement to get for February 17th and 18th? I just want to make sure we get it out.
Well, and we did discuss that. Did you sent us an email, forgive me, with the flyer, right?
Yes.
Yes, you had a prospective flyer in that email,
Yeah,
that was ready
yes.
to go.
Yes, yeah.
And you know what, for just my memory's sake, do you have that in your folder?
I do.
Can I take a look at that, please? Or,
So these are just little flyers that those would be cut in half and sent to the schools, and I can make something else for, you know, Facebook and, newspapers to be put in.
I mean, we did discuss that we wanna be early on this. Is there any action we have to take? I mean, we're committed, we're buying equipment, we're gonna try to do this. Is there any reason that we can't just start advertising this effective today?
Fees.
We're gonna set the registration for residents first, we had talked about that, at $50 a child.
So we need to then get an ordinance updating the fee schedule, and once that is effective, then you can start doing registration. So just with everything on council's plate right now, just make sure that that can get done.
I would recommend that if any motion was taken on this item, that it be providing direction to the attorney, and hope to work together to create a policy, a fee schedule, and also to work with the insurance agency for any waivers of liability that need to be established with this. And
Because you really shouldn't start advertising the $50 fee, since technically it's not part of our
Okay.
fee structure.
Would it be, okay,
I mean, you could maybe just do early blast.
save the date type thing?
Like, save the date, coming soon, you know, she can do it in all the fun stuff she's been doing with like the paint ones, you know, popping colors and all the stuff that's been catching everybody's eyes, because I know everybody keeps finding all the posts on Facebook, you know, but yeah, more along the lines of save the date, but I wouldn't actually put out any fee
Mention
information or anything like that
Okay.
until it's all gone through the actual adoption process.
Do we feel that that's something that could be assembled by the January meeting?
so if the board is comfortable with the $50 and/or the proposed fee schedule that Hope has in place, or has, you know, prospectively drawn up, that can be provided to the attorney, and that would be something that the council does have to pass. So it would be a recommendation from this board, if you guys like the rules, regulations, and et cetera that are established to the town council, for the town council to adopt and make official town ordinance code and
And then
fee
as soon as
structure.
council passes it, we can let Hope know, that way she can get it out there.
Okay, so how does a January, well, it's another item down the road. Well, no, we know we're first Thursday of January now. So that's January
10th, I thought.
5th, if we're doing the first one. So how does a January 5th meeting coincide with the council meeting? With that,
First and third Tuesday of the month, our council,
I would think it should go on our next agenda and be passed.
if Dave, it's just a matter of, if Dave being able to
Right,
draft it.
if they're able to get it done.
Yeah.
So, Hope, is there gonna be a fee for out-of-town residents, a different fee?
Yeah, we had talked about, like, the non-residents paying $60. Just
Yeah.
That should be on there also then, right?
It would have to, because
Yeah.
as of right now, it's
Okay.
just a flat fee.
Oh, okay,
There's no
okay, all right.
separation.
If we go 50/60, then that should be part of the ordinance.
okay. Okay, so Hope, you think you can work with legal to get this going?
Hey, Chris, they might be able to make the second meeting in December. Would that be okay?
Yeah, and this would be something, it would require a public hearing because it is a fee structure, so we would have to have time to advertise.
Yeah.
Potentially, this could be something that likely we're doing the public hearing in December. If we need to, we could finish adoption in
No,
the
that's gonna
first
be a short meeting.
meeting of, yeah, that will be a
Not,
short meeting,
not only a public hearing, but upon adoption, it also has to be noticed, doesn't it?
yeah.
Once we adopt it, it also has to be noticed. And then you can start.
Well, then when I get started, so as soon as we get that through whatever we need to do.
Yeah.
And Hope does sit down with Dave.
Yes, yeah.
So maybe let's just kind of let's set an aggressive timeline
Yeah.
to be ready to go by our first
But
park board
first,
meeting.
and we'll see what happens.
And even if we have to call a special
You can
park
always
board
call a
meeting
special meeting if it
to
happens after that.
clear that through, you know, we
Yeah.
could do that too, but,
Because it's pretty important stuff, I agree. You want to get it out as
Yeah,
quick
you
as
gotta
you
get
can, yeah.
So for the park board, if we recommend the fees and the policies and rules to the town council, do we have to have a public meeting for that, or it just has to be public if the town council is adopting the fee structure?
You mean the public hearing and such?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just the process we have to do for council.
And that's town council.
That's just council,
That's just
so-
council.
realistically, we could have a separate session to iron out the...
Exactly, that's what I think Dale was talking about, yeah.
yeah, so that's what I was saying, is that if we get lucky and things move quick and it's ready to go, even if we, what is state statute, 72 hours for a special meeting?
Public notice, yeah.
So, let's say it's ready to go and we can make a special meeting notification, and we can get it up and running and going. But I think starting a social media blitz, something on the town website, let's do.
I mean, again, I don't think you guys are going to have any shortage of participants.
Right.
I mean, as soon as, I think there was a gentleman on Facebook I saw who shared your guys' last YouTube meeting or the meeting before, and then everybody was all, you know, aflutter, getting excited, talking about soccer again, and, you know, I mean, I think you guys are gonna go off without a hitch, no problem.
We like that.
In order to, though, expedite the whole process, that would be why my recommendation would be to direct Hope to work with Attorney Austin to get a draft policies and such in place, so that way, at your next meeting or at a special meeting, potentially you could review those draft policies, which would ideally be sent out by the attorney after it's been drafted. For your review, you can come into a special meeting or in your January meeting, make a recommendation to accept or any changes that you'd like to see that weren't made. And then the town council can be going through the process of adopting a rate schedule for this particular program.
Right.
So I guess for new business item number 1, then, I would like to entertain a motion to direct Hope to start working with legal on a fee or an ordinance, fee structure, policies, to get this moving with a goal of January 5th, if not sooner.
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion from Paul.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? And in fairness to you, Hope, if there's bottlenecks, hurdles, and obstacles that prevent that from happening, it is what it is. That's why I just want to make sure people know that it's really coming, so if at the very least it's a save the date, and that's all it is, I just want it very clear that it's coming, and if we run into hiccups, we run into hiccups. I don't want you to lose sleep over this, and, you know, you're working through the holiday season with a lot of different things. You'll do your best, as we know you will, and the end result is the end result. So don't feel like if for some reason January 5th it's not ready to go, like it's going to be a
It
problem.
won't be your fault, I
Yeah,
can assure you that.
yeah, it'll be okay, but let's set an aggressive timeline
Okay,
and see what happens. And if it doesn't happen, then we'll just work with when it does.
okay.
If it doesn't
So-
happen, it's just government being government, so.
Yeah. So, a save the date is all I'd be looking for right now.
Yeah.
Just as, and let's just go with that. So, any further discussion, board members? Not yet. All right, I like that. All right, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Holsty?
Yes. Okay, so that's 4-0. Okay, item number 2, new business, date of the next park board meeting. So there's been discussion pretty much since we started about not having a December 22nd meeting. I had spoke with Jennifer, just due to lack of knowledge that, like, if the budget comes back, is there any reason why we have to do something in December? Is there any foreseeable pressing issues that we would have to have a meeting in December? It is 3 days before Christmas, I get it. So I would like to solicit a motion to cancel the December 22nd meeting with the understanding that if for some reason something comes up that we need to convene, we can take the appropriate steps to do so. What's the board's pleasure?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's gonna be anything that's gonna come up unless we really wanna get the park, or the soccer stuff.
And that's why I think the special session would be, you know, appropriate if something, you know, does pop up that we need to take action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll motion to cancel the December meeting.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so officially we are canceling the December 22nd meeting, and if we can get a roll call, please.
Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Holste.
Yes. Okay, project updates, number one, clerk treasurer fund report. Ms. Jennifer, do you have anything for us?
No, not really. We paid out the, pay request number one for the Kiwanis Dog Park parking lot. That was the biggest expense out of the park impact. We also made the 50% deposit down to Kinetic Recreation for all the dog park equipment. That check's gone out. So those folks should be receiving it any day. Other than that, Public Works, every once in a blue moon, they're back over there fiddling with the electric. I think this time it's all been related to the lights. So minimal little things there, and you can see I gave you the non-reverting fund, but it was just a reimbursement to Hope that you guys technically approved at the last meeting, because you gave her, what was it, up to
$500.
for, so, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than that, I mean, let's see, did I not send it? I don't remember. I just updated the other one that I normally do with the projects, you know, that list that Mr. Everly had created towards the end of last year, whenever he did it, and I've been up, oh, there it is, don't ask me, because it was before all my fund reports, that's why.
Yeah, it's the first one.
But really, there hasn't been anything else. I did, put Kinetic, the dog park on there. I might clean it up some just because, you know, Rick had put out the pavilions individually and those basketball goals and posts, so I'll probably just start almost completely fresh for 23. Anything that says in progress, obviously I'm going to leave that up because it's something you guys have either already approved or we previously approved it. But really, like, we're still showing the town hall fencing, but I just received the final pay request for those. Town hall fencing is good to go. We're going to pay the remaining 50% on that. And then Kiwanis, there was a change order that I was not aware of. That's why TJ was looking into it for me, and it's only $3,000. And I'm assuming it's because of the little partition part of the fence. So we'll be paying that out, and then fencing here and fencing there is completed. I know it shows clubhouse improvements in progress, but I really don't believe there's anything left at the clubhouse, because I was just talking to Tim the other day, and I'm pretty sure they just finished doing the, I think the sink, the nice big kitchen sink was the last thing they were doing, and I think they finished that up, so I think clubhouse improvements are done as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
All the equipment, tables, chairs, that stuff, ordered, come in, we've paid for it. So unless there's, anything else that I can't remember that we talked about the clubhouse, that I really can't.
I don't think anything that we've taken action on. We've discussed some things, but nothing that we've taken action
But I
on.
don't think we've actually done anything. So that's, I'll, you know, swipe it, begin fresh, and like I said at the last meeting, once we actually know what the budget is going to be, and you guys are a department within the general fund, then you'll see another report, and I'll probably do more of a docket style for you guys like I do for council, and lay out each fund, what the expenses have been. The reports will still look similar to these ones that I give you guys, but I imagine we'll have much more expenses as you guys really kick off getting things done.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Item number 2, project updates. I guess we kind of addressed part of it, the deposits down on the dog park equipment.
Yeah, I talked to
Exciting.
Tim. The only thing outstanding that we didn't discuss that's going on there is, we will seed the dog park likely in the spring.
Okay,
We're gonna do a hydro seed.
okay, well, that'll still, I mean, hydro seed takes pretty quick,
Yeah.
so, I'm assuming, that the town's doing, do we have to contract someone for that, is that,
That'll be contracted out.
and will that be our budget, Public Works budget?
Park impact fees, likely.
Okay,
As we finish this jump off.
okay, perfect, go ahead, Rick.
Get another dog fountain, are we doing that? We discussed it at our meeting.
We haven't taken action on that.
Because he's gonna have to dig to get that pipe in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll have to put if you're gonna want another, water fountain on the other side, then yeah, you would need to run a service line to that too.
Right, so we should probably,
We should at the very least discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
I imagine we're not doing any digging,
No.
not anytime,
They just graded that site, so it's still it's gonna be mud right now, so we're not gonna do any digging in there.
yeah.
We'd probably just save that for the spring. We could easily take a fence section off and then dig a trench.
But we can discuss that next meeting. That's totally,
Perfect.
appropriate, I think.
Mhm.
While we are talking about the dog park, Chris brought up something today, and I actually kinda think it's a cool idea, and maybe dog park committee can, brainstorm this. I guess there's been some requests for a doggy wash at the doggy park.
And I was caveat that this was something Cliff brought up to me, so it's not my idea of just relaying, what I thought was a really
So
cool.
what I heard was it was Chris's idea. And- but,
Listening, he's gonna get ya.
yeah, right? So something to look into. I don't know that it's a terrible idea, and again, I think it's one of those added values if we're gonna charge a fee for a dog park, you know, Fido's gonna get muddy. You know, it's something that we're gonna probably have to drain and winterize come winter, but 2/3 of the year may not be a bad add-on. So at the very least, if you guys can see if, Kinetics has any leads on that, kinda cool. I don't know that we have to have it, but let's at least have the conversation.
I think
What's in
the little square platform is also dual for like a grooming table stand
Oh, really?
type thing.
Oh, okay.
I would have to look into it more, but
It'll
it
be
might
so
be dual
versatile.
purpose. I mean,
Bath,
it doesn't come with a
perm.
hose, but.
Bath perm, we could just, you
If
know.
all you need is a hose, we can do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They do
So-
have those fire hydrants that mist into the middle, so it's
Yeah.
like splash pad for dogs.
So I think that's pretty cool, idea. Let's at least look into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, for the record, for those that'll watch this at some point, it doesn't mean it's happening, but I think it's a good, something to look into. So, yeah, I don't know that I have anything else regarding the dog park.
I just saw you sent the attorney, sent us some policies and rules from other municipalities.
Yes.
So maybe me and Sarah and Hope can get together at some point, you know, so the dog park committee can get together at some point.
On that note too, same as with the soccer, any fee structure
Yeah.
will have to go through that public
Yeah. Right.
hearing and adoption
So,
process with.
well, I mean, we'll focus on the soccer fee structure first and then get the dog
Yeah,
park.
I mean, we have till spring or later.
Yeah.
So we can make that a project for,
After you finish soccer.
after we
Yeah.
finish soccer.
Yeah. It will take some time for the ground to settle and harden up before we wanna go and install the dog equipment that we've purchased.
Mhm.
Cool, I like it. Anything else for the dog park? Okay, item number 3, we have the Recreation Coordinator's Events Report. That is you, Hope.
Okay. Since the last park board meeting, I have had the October Senior Social, which was a successful event. There were 16 seniors signed up for the event, and 37 seniors showed up.
Oh.
I had a volunteer, Melissa, who was a wonderful help. She plans to come back for the next senior social. I had the bingo event on Monday, November 7th, and it was successful as well. People were very grateful that we're doing events. There's 23 people at the event, and most of them did sign up. Some did say that they didn't know we had to sign up, so I've really been stressing, sign up, sign up. And I had a volunteer there also. Her name was Brenda Sue, and she was a great help as well. She did great. She even put away tables and chairs and everything. So even the hard stuff she did. November 10th was supposed to be the adult paint class. On November 9th, I decided to call the 3 people that were on my sign-up list because they hadn't paid the fee yet. And all 3 said that they could not make it. So I informed Lynn and let her know that we should cancel, and then I put a post on Facebook. So that was a disappointment.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. I have 4 signed up for the kids' art class, which is this coming Tuesday. And I have, so senior social is tomorrow. Sunday is to clean the parks, and I have some volunteers that said that they will meet me here at the park and clean up. And then Tuesday will be the kids' art class. So I'm hoping those will be good events. I've been gathering more soccer quotes, looking up the rules of soccer, looking at the former soccer program, tweaking the registration forms and flyers, and figuring out what dates to do registrations, putting together an outline of the coaches meeting, and I'll be in touch with the soccer coach from Hanover. He emailed me and said that he could help me, and so we'll be meeting, and he can give me some tips on what needs to be done. I had a long conversation with a lady who put her name on the park survey. Her name's Kelly Peterson. She is a learning disabled teacher, and she's in a wheelchair. Her daughter and her husband are both in wheelchairs. So she was making an offer of just a source of information on how to make the parks more ADA compliant. She said that she would be willing to come to a park board meeting at any time if we want her to come and just give us some information on some things that could be helpful for both the parks and for like if we do Easter egg hunt or anything like that, she said she could give us insights to making Easter egg hunts more, like for autistic kids, making them more sensory, thinking about that kind of thing. And she said that she knows that we just put in brand new mulch, and she lives right by the Monastery Woods Park.
I know where this is going.
And she said it's useless for her because they're all in wheelchairs. So she said, I was like, oh man, that's so horrible. But so she's like, that's one thing that, like, if we had a source of information that could tell us, like, just to at least have one that had they have like it's kind of like a rubber pavement.
Like a robin's nest.
Yep. You know what, as soon as you said mulch, I knew exactly where you were going, and that is something that we need to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she came at it with such grace. She wasn't mad or upset or anything like that. She was just like, it's just something that people who don't have disabilities, they just don't think of.
No,
and
valid.
so I think she'll be a valuable source of information in the future. And I thanked her for coming forward and being so grace, so nice about it. I started taking reservations for the rental of the clubhouse for next year. That started on November 1st. And we've been doing a lot of reservations, so a lot of people are signing up already it's getting filled up. I emailed Rebecca Coates from Purdue Extension, and I lined up 2 more programs for the winter with her. We will do a bird identification program on Monday, January 30th at the Monastery Clubhouse. She's got like a PowerPoint presentation and stuff. She's going to bring in the projector slides, all that. And so all she needs is like chairs and tables and do a bird identification program. That's going to be from 4 to 5 o'clock. And then she also said she could do an animal tracking program here at the little beach, at the shelter behind the town hall. She'll put like a scent station in like the day or 2 before, and then hopefully there'll be some tracks, and she'll talk about how to identify animal tracks. And that will be on February 3rd. From 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And both of these programs are for all ages. And I've made flyers for these. I've advertised our events on the Town Planner, on XROC Region Events. I posted them on Facebook and put flyers at several businesses around town, including Jay's Convenience Store, Both True Values, Luke's Gas Station, Sip Coffee House, Gleaner's Resale, Sandbar Restaurant, Centier Bank, People's Bank, DeMont State Bank, Strachan Van Til, Edgewater Health, and also at the Oaks Apartment Building. And then just today, I set up a Gardening 101 class with Lynn Barbie. She's a Master Gardener, and that's for Monday, March 27th from 4 to 5. At the Monastery Clubhouse. And I also talked to Gail, and she said that because sometimes I'm here and sometimes I'm not, so sometimes if somebody comes to pay a fee for one of the art classes or something, if I'm not here, then the girls don't know what to do with the money and they don't want to handle that. So Gail said that we can use the Dropbox and people can just put their money in an envelope and write my name on the outside of the envelope, and then they can just give me the fees
Sounds
for that.
Check.
So, Dale had sent me an email earlier today, and that's what I responded is I was okay with the Dropbox being used. My only worry is cash, because I do not allow cash to go into that box, because too many what ifs. Somebody could tell me they put $80 in there, and guess what, there wasn't $80 in there. There's,
Right.
Check. So long as it's like check and whatever, I imagine for your paint classes and stuff, it's like a single page registration form.
Yes.
Pretty basic. Something that's not gonna get stuck. What I was saying to Bill also was, once it comes time for soccer, I wouldn't want to do soccer that way.
Right.
Because then stuff will get jammed up and
Right.
Yeah.
just become a mess. But ultimately, yeah, I see no problem if you want to also utilize the Dropbox. I would just have staff, most likely Gail, keep it locked in her office if you're not in, or in the morning. You're usually here first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
I think, when they grab the Dropbox. So then they can just pass it along to you. That way we know it's being properly accounted for. Because I don't want to, my biggest concern with having my staff start receipting Parks and Rec stuff is when it comes to the days that my staff absolutely can't. Because there are certain times throughout the month where we have to get billing done, we have to get our posting done, and I don't want to say, oh yeah, sure, come on in, one of the utility gals can help you out, and then guess what? We're running around like chickens with our heads cut off trying to get our stuff done and telling people, no, sorry, you got to go away.
No, and to
Yeah.
your, with that being said too, hopefully this is just a short-term, and there's a different,
Come February, hopefully, it looks much different once we know what our budget is.
Right. So this would
Don't have to
be,
worry about it.
so this would be short-term. Absolutely. So, and that's all we're looking for, is just a short-term solution, but, you know, when Hope and I spoke about it, it wasn't even necessarily if she's away, it was the person that has a job and works till 6 on Monday through Friday and
Just needs to loop in real
just,
fast.
you know,
Yeah.
wants to come to art class, but needs to drop off, you know, whatever, so.
Yeah, so long, I mean, no problem, so long as it's sealed in an envelope and it's marked attention Hope, no problem. Because ultimately, we've had it happen in the past with a couple of things. People will just write a check out, no, nothing on the memo line, just an amount, in an envelope, not attention to anybody, so my staff does what they were taught to do. Their job is to process utility payments. They see a check from so-and-so at this address, they make sure the name of the address matches the utility account, they post the money to the utility account because they know nothing else, you know? So I just, so long as it's marked, that way we know who it's going to, no problem.
Cool.
Okay.
We were on the same brainwave today.
Yeah. Yeah, like I told Dale, you know, every time I've, had to get anywhere between 8 and 5, I've not been able to do it my entire adult life working because I've been at work. So it's one of those hiccups that'll, you know, being
Yeah.
able to drop it in the Dropbox will help.
And as we progress into the modern times, that'll even get easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with an online registration system and so on and so forth. So this is a short-term problem. Short-term problem that we'll fix, just like we're trying to fix a lot of things, so.
Mhm.
Anything else from your report, Hope?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So, I actually was taking some notes. One thing I wanted to bring up to you is, and I'm gonna double check my email, I believe Richard Czar emailed it to me. When we discussed the referee clinic, coach clinic, et cetera, apparently there's a U.S. Youth Soccer Association, or something like that. It's got some acronym. That
Okay.
might be a good resource to look at too. I will see if I can find that in the email. And I think they might offer coaching clinics and stuff like that, or have leads on stuff like that. So I'm gonna look for that tomorrow for you.
Okay.
The second thing, the ADA and the mulch versus the mat, that is a great thing that I'm glad that she diplomatically brought up, and that is something that we need to think about, you know, in the future design, or, you know, as I've spoke of before in different meetings, you know, having ADA park features or autism features or whatever, so I think that's great feedback. It leads me to a question for you, Chris, and council. You know, Mr. Austin has been wanting us to kind of start brainstorming what a special needs athletic facility would look like, and he's kind of alluded to a committee. Would it be appropriate, and I don't remember, I didn't catch the lady's name, but would it be appropriate to have a citizen on such a committee when we're brainstorming how this should look or what it should look like?
It would not be inappropriate. I would say that this would probably fall under part of the parks master planning, that
Okay.
if we get the budget that we requested from the state, that would be wrapped in a part of that. And I would imagine that any park master plan that's done will have a community outreach, or several community outreach sessions to get comments, questions, concerns, ideas from the citizens. And certainly that, at that time, could be addressed and contemplated.
Because I think that's the voice we need if we're gonna be talking about that, is, you know, someone who lives that, you know, that's the feedback that I think we need, so. Okay, well, so, I guess the only other thing I had is, so this is obviously gonna be our last meeting till the new year, and I would just like to then take a moment to say thank you to the board. Took 4 strangers, and we've actually done some things, and we've done some cool things, and we work very well together, and I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. Hope, you've been a wonderful addition to the team. I tell you that every time I talk to you. And to Chris and Colleen and Rick and Ralph and Jennifer, you guys and Margaret and everyone, you know, thank you for putting your trust in us and helping us and being there for us. I think we took nothing and turned it into something this year for the most part, and I think that we should all be very proud of that. And I can only imagine what next year is gonna look like, you know, and what it could look like and what it could be. And so, and to the community who's reached out, given us feedback, you know, input, offered suggestions, showed up to our events, you know, I think we can all be very proud for what we've put together this year. So to all of those involved, thank you. And again, to the board, I think we work very well together, and I think that's awesome. And I think that,
Done well.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
See a lot of progress.
so, I'm excited for 2023. Not really, I'm not ready for this year to be over, but I'm excited to see what next year looks like. So,
Sure.
with that, I have no written communication, and, there's no public comment. So, board, if you guys have anything you wanna add before we wrap up? Anything?
I just second what you said.
Okay.
It's a good speech.
Don't ask me to write anything down. It's just gotta flow. It's just gotta come out my mouth. All right, I'm just looking for a motion for adjournment then.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I have a motion from Sarah.
I'll second.
All right, meeting's adjourned at 6:56. We will reconvene in 2023 on January.